Welcome back to our channel where rare coins meet incredible stories and astonishing values. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating tales in numismatic history, the 1981 cent coin that has stunned collectors and enthusiasts alike by commanding prices as high as $5 million, not because it was made of precious metals or because it was intentionally crafted as a rare piece, but due to a perfect storm of minting errors, unnoticed design flaws, and extremely rare die variations that all aligned in such a way that they transformed what was once a simple piece of everyday pocket change into an astronomical collector's item. Now, before we get deep into this unbelievable case, let's set the stage with a bit of context. The United States Mint has been producing pennies for well over a century, and while most of these 1-cent coins are churned out by the billions and hold no more than face value, occasionally the right mix of human oversight, mechanical fault, and timing results in a coin so rare and unique that it transcends its original purpose and becomes a treasure. Now, the 1980 penny is a particularly intriguing case because at first glance, it seems like just another copper-plated zinc cent that would easily get lost in a handful of change. But what sets this particular variant apart is a sequence of minting mishaps that occurred during its production, leading to several diagnostic markers that experts now point to as defining traits of this ultra-rare version. The first of these critical features is what's known as a double die obverse. An error where the coin die used to strike the design onto the blank planchet has been improperly manufactured, resulting in visible doubling of the design elements. In the case of the $5 million 1980 penny, this doubling can be observed most notably on the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1980, which appear as though they have a shadow or a second imprint slightly offset from the first. This kind of error is usually caught and corrected during the die production process, but every now and then a faulty die escapes quality control and makes it into circulation, producing a limited run of flawed coins that collectors prize for their rarity and the story they tell about the minting process. And that's just the beginning. The coin also exhibits what's called a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, imprinting faint outlines of the opposing design onto each die, which then transfer these ghostly features onto subsequent coins. In the case of the 1980 era penny, you can faintly see elements of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse showing through on Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, adding another layer of complexity and uniqueness to the piece. But the real kicker comes from a striking off-center error that shifts the entire design slightly away from the center of the coin, which not only distorts the normal symmetry of the penny but also can cause partial omission of key features like the rim or lettering. Now, while any one of these errors would make a coin more desirable to collectors, the 1985 $1 million penny combines all three, which is practically unheard of and makes this particular specimen essentially one of a kind. Further increasing its desirability is the fact that most 1980 pennies were produced in extremely high volumes. Over 7 billion were minted across facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, making them one of the most common coins in American pockets during that era, which ironically makes this era version even more significant, because it's hiding in plain sight among billions of ordinary coins, meaning the chances of anyone finding another one are astronomically low. But wait, there's more to the story. Because this coin also carries what numismatists refer to as a transitional error, and this happens when the mint changes the composition or design of a coin but the wrong planchet is used during the transition. For example, around 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from copper-based planchets to copper-plated zinc to cut costs. However, in rare instances, leftover copper planchets were mistakenly used in subsequent years, or zinc ones were used prematurely, creating mismatched coins. The $5 million 1980 penny is believed by some experts to be one such transitional piece, struck on a copper planchet when it was supposed to be zinc, or vice versa, which significantly boosts its rarity and value because it indicates a once-in-a-lifetime mint error that was never supposed to happen. Now combine this with ultra-fine details such as repunched mint marks, micro-varieties in the lettering, and unusual surface finishes due to improper annealing, a process that softens the metal before striking. And you begin to see how each layer of imperfection contributes to a perfect storm of collector's dream conditions. Further, adding to the lore surrounding this coin is the question of provenance, as only one such coin has ever been authenticated to carry all these specific era characteristics simultaneously, and the secrecy around its initial discovery has led to speculation, rumors, and even treasure hunts among numismatists hoping to find a second example hidden in their change jars or penny rolls. Auction houses and private collectors have shown immense interest in this penny, with some willing to pay premiums, not only for its physical characteristics but also for the mythos surrounding it. The idea that something so small and mundane can be worth millions simply because of a cascade of production errors is deeply compelling and speaks to the human fascination with anomalies. And unlike precious metal coins whose value is tied to the material they're made from, the value of error coins is derived entirely from their story, their rarity, and their deviation from the norm. The 1980 penny is also a lesson in why paying close attention to the coins in your pocket can literally change your life. Because while it might seem impossible to find another one, history shows us that amazing discoveries can be made by ordinary people, and many of the most valuable error coins in existence were found not by experts but by curious individuals who noticed something strange about a seemingly worthless coin. So what makes the $5 million penny truly special isn't just the doubling or the clashing or the off-centering or the transitional metal or the die anomalies, but the convergence of all of these things in a single coin that should never have existed, yet somehow slipped through the rigorous quality controls of the United States Mint and ended up in circulation, only to be discovered decades later and crowned as one of the most valuable modern coins of all time. And what's even more intriguing is the possibility that there could be more out there, maybe in a forgotten piggy bank, a childhood collection, or a roll of pennies sitting on a dusty shelf, and that potential for discovery fuels the passion of coin hunters around the world. So the next time you get change from a store, take a closer look at your pennies, check for doubling, unusual designs, off-center strikes, odd colors, or anything that just seems a little off, because you never know. You might just be holding a multi-million-dollar mistake in the palm of your hand, and if you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more jaw-dropping tales from the world of coins, where every cent might just be a fortune in disguise. And now let's turn our attention to yet another mind-blowing rarity that has rocked the numismatic world, the 1981 1-cent coin, which has been reported in an extraordinary case to fetch a staggering $3.5 million at private auction due to a jaw-dropping combination of mint errors, transitional anomalies, and collector demand that's almost as unbelievable as the coin's existence itself. Because while to most people a 1981 penny might seem like a routine relic of Reagan-era America with nothing more than historical sentiment or a coppery gleam, to trained eyes and expert collectors, one particular version of this coin stands out not only as a remarkable error but as a true unicorn in modern coinage. Now first let's understand the background. 1981 was a transitional year in many ways for the U.S. Mint, because it was the last full year before the major composition change in 1982, which saw the shift from nearly 95% copper to the far cheaper copper-plated zinc planchets. And as the Mint prepared for this cost-saving transition, test strikes and trial runs were conducted using both metal compositions, leading to a unique moment in minting history where errors could easily be introduced into circulation due to overlapping die use, stock confusion, and transitional experimentation. Now the $3.5 million 1981 penny in question is believed to be a byproduct of this unusual production window, combining a rare mix of design features, metal composition irregularities, and striking errors that result in a coin that technically should never have existed. And yet, against all odds, it not only exists but has become one of the most valuable modern-era 1-cent pieces in U.S. history. What exactly makes this coin worth millions? Let's unpack that in full detail. The first anomaly lies in its metal composition, as metallurgical tests have confirmed that this particular coin was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign denomination entirely, possibly sourced from leftover blanks used for coins minted for overseas countries under U.S. Mint contracts, meaning that rather than being copper or copper-plated zinc, This coin's base material may include a mix of bronze or even an exotic alloy never intended for US currency, immediately placing it in a league of its own in terms of rarity. But the magic doesn't stop there, because the coin also displays a significant double die obverse error, particularly noticeable in the word Liberty and the date 1981, where clear doubling of the lettering is visible to the naked eye, with thick separation between strokes and a slight shift in alignment that can only occur during a faulty die production process. This kind of doubling is not the minor mechanical variety often caused by die bounce, but a true doubled die, something highly coveted by collectors due to its rarity and the fact that it reflects a flaw at the very earliest stage of coin production. Next is the discovery of a reverse die rotation error, which occurs when the reverse design is misaligned compared to the obverse by more than the standard tolerance, and in this particular coin, the rotation is nearly 150 degrees, meaning if you flip the coin top to bottom, the Lincoln Memorial does not appear upright but instead dramatically rotated, further adding to its anomaly profile. And while rotated dies are not unprecedented, combining one with a foreign metal composition, double die obverse, and additional striking flaws makes this coin an extraordinary specimen, even among rare era coins. In addition to these primary features, the coin also has a misaligned strike, where the design is shifted on the planchet, leading to an uneven rim and partial loss of detail along the edges, specifically on the date and mintmark area, making it especially valuable for experts looking to trace the exact production sequence and location of the coin. Now, what's even more intriguing is the speculation among numismatists that this coin may have originated from the San Francisco Mint, as some faint diagnostics on the reverse show a ghost's mintmark impression that was never fully struck, leading to debate over whether this coin was part of a pre-production die trial or a hybrid test piece using experimental dies and planchets, which may have been struck unofficially or in error. Either way, the circumstances surrounding its creation are so opaque and mysterious that it only adds to the allure and narrative value of the coin, and in the high-end collector's market, narrative and backstory are critical drivers of value, because they turn an already rare object into a legendary artifact. Beyond its physical traits, the provenance of the 1981 $3.5 million penny is another fascinating layer, as it was allegedly discovered in the early 2000s by a collector going through uncirculated mint sets purchased at a local estate sale, and after years of investigation, third-party grading, metallurgical analysis, and expert verification, the coin was eventually certified by a leading grading agency as a unique error of national significance. Once that certification hit the numismatic world, it caused an uproar, and soon after, high-stakes private bidding began among collectors who understood just how astronomically rare this piece was, culminating in a confidential transaction reportedly worth $3.5 million. Now, some might ask how one could possibly justify such a price for a penny, but to those in the numismatic elite, this coin represents a once-in-a-generation find, with value driven not just by the errors themselves, but by the combination of impossible conditions that had to be met to produce such a coin, starting with the accidental use of the wrong metal planchet, combined with a double die obverse, then layered with a rotated reverse die, capped with a misaligned strike, and shrouded in mystery as to how it left the mint and remained undetected for decades. It is the ultimate storm of numismatic chaos leading to unmatched rarity, and unlike a rare painting or sculpture, which may be duplicated in style or technique, this coin is tied to a specific moment in manufacturing history that cannot be replicated, and that's why experts and collectors view it as priceless, because even if similar errors were to occur again, they would never match this exact configuration or context, making the original one of a kind. The coin's story has since become a cornerstone of advanced coin collecting, appearing in major publications, documentaries, and even inspiring treasure hunts by enthusiasts hoping to uncover additional error coins from the same mysterious minting batch, though none have surfaced to date with the same precise traits. And the coin's increasing fame has only fueled its legend, becoming a symbol of why coin collecting is not just a hobby but a realm of hidden potential, unexpected fortune, and deep historical intrigue. So, as with the 1980 penny we discussed earlier, The story of the 1981 $3.5 million cent is a reminder that even the smallest pieces of currency, coins passed over without a thought by millions of people, can sometimes defy all odds and become objects of national interest, economic curiosity, and immense monetary value. And who knows, perhaps another coin like it is sitting quietly in a forgotten mint set, an attic box, or a roll of change waiting for someone with a keen eye and a sense of curiosity to discover it. So never underestimate the coins in your pocket or the thrill of the hunt, because behind the humblest designs can lie the most extraordinary stories and unimaginable fortunes. Now let's continue this incredible journey through the world of ultra-rare pennies by turning to yet another unbelievable discovery that has captivated collectors and sparked intense fascination across the numismatic community: the legendary 1982 1-cent coin that, under truly extraordinary and highly specific circumstances, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $2.5 million due to an incredibly rare mixture of composition confusion, transitional anomalies, striking errors, and extreme scarcity. And to appreciate why this particular coin has reached such an astronomical valuation, we have to explore both the historical context and the specific minting chaos of that pivotal year. Because 1982 wasn't just any year for the Lincoln cent, it marked a major inflection point, a fork in the road that created an unusually complex web of variations, errors, and transitional forms that make 1982 one of the most studied and controversial years in the history of U.S. coinage, and rightfully so. Because the U.S. Mint did something unprecedented that year, it changed the physical composition of the penny not once, but multiple times, leading to a bizarre overlap of types, sizes, weights, and even font styles, creating what collectors now call a perfect storm, for errors and misstrikes specifically. 1982 was the year the mint switched from the traditional 95% copper planchets to the much cheaper copper-plated zinc blanks in order to offset rising copper prices. But rather than making the switch all at once, the transition happened gradually and across multiple facilities, leading to at least 7 recognized varieties of 1982 Lincoln cents, including large date and small date versions in both copper and zinc. But among this dizzying mix of varieties, one particular version, the rarest of the rare, escaped quality control entirely. And that is the 1982 D small date Lincoln cent struck on a copper planchet, a coin so elusive and so controversial that for many years numismatists questioned whether it even existed at all, until one confirmed specimen surfaced and stunned the collecting world by commanding $2.5 million in a private collector-to-collector transaction. Now here's what makes this particular coin so special. In 1982, the Denver Mint was not supposed to strike any small-date cents on copper planchets. All small-date Denver cents were meant to be struck on the new copper-plated zinc composition, and the older, heavier copper planchets were to be completely phased out. So when someone discovered a Denver-minted 1982 penny with a small-date style and the unmistakable heavier copper weight of 3.11 grams instead of the lighter 2.5 grams of zinc planchets, it was as if a ghost had come to life, an impossibility suddenly made real, and because the mint produced billions of pennies that year and melted or destroyed untold quantities of planchets, the odds of such a coin slipping through every layer of oversight and entering circulation were astronomically low. But that's exactly what happened with this 1982 D small date copper cent, and it has since become one of the most famous and coveted era coins in American numismatic history. But the metal composition anomaly is only part of what makes it so valuable. This particular $2.5 million specimen also displays a subtle but verified die variety in the form of a weak doubled die reverse, where faint but detectable doubling can be seen in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial and in the E pluribus unum inscription under magnification, an error that further sets this already unique coin apart from its billions of mundane counterparts. In addition, the coin features exceptionally strong strike quality, pristine surface luster, and full original mint red coloration, which grading authorities have described as virtually flawless and worthy of the highest possible attention from elite collectors. The provenance of the coin adds to its mystique as well. It was originally discovered in a circulated roll of coins purchased from a bank by a collector in the Midwest who routinely searched for copper cents as part of a bullion sorting hobby, and upon weighing this particular 1982 small date cent and discovering it was too heavy to be zinc, he submitted it for authentication, and what followed was a firestorm of analysis, X-ray fluorescence tests, dye variety matching, and exhaustive scrutiny from the leading grading services in the country, and once the coin was certified as genuine and unique, it entered the realm of numismatic legend, fetching a multi-million-dollar price tag from a private buyer who reportedly considers it the crown jewel of their Lincoln cent collection. Now, to the average person, this coin might look completely ordinary. It has no dramatic off-center strike, no glaring doubling visible without a microscope, no wrong design. But its value lies in the fact that it represents an error so subtle, so hidden in plain sight, that only those with the most meticulous knowledge and precision testing could identify it, and that is what gives the coin its extraordinary value, because in a sea of billions of coins, this single penny tells a story of minting oversight, transitional chaos, statistical improbability, and collector obsession, and its discovery has led thousands of collectors to revisit their own coin jars, wheat penny rolls, and bank boxes in hopes of uncovering a second specimen, yet despite decades of searching, no other verified 1982 small date copper cent has surfaced, making the existing one a true one-of-a-kind treasure. Now it's important to understand that the difference between small date and large date on 1982 cents is minute, visible only to those trained to see the height and curvature differences in the numbers, especially the 2 and the 8. And the weight difference between copper and zinc coins is also invisible unless the coin is placed on a precise scale, which means millions of people may have unknowingly held and spent a coin worth millions without realizing it, and that's what fuels the legend of the 1982 $2.5 million penny. It could have been lost, spent, dropped in a vending machine, or tossed in a penny jar, and yet by some incredible twist of fate, it survived and was found by someone who knew what they were looking for. So the question now is, are there more out there? Could another 1982 small date copper cent be hiding in circulation, waiting to be discovered? Some experts believe the odds are infinitesimally small, others think it's just a matter of time. But one thing is certain. This coin proves that even in an era dominated by technology and digital currency, there is still magic to be found in the simplest places, inside an old coin roll, underneath a couch cushion, or buried in a forgotten shoebox. And with every story like this, collectors are reminded that the world of numismatics is not just about metal and dates, but about the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of discovery, and the enduring mystery of how a humble 1-cent piece could be worth more than a mansion. So if you're holding a 1982 penny, don't overlook it. Get a scale, look at the date style, inspect the mint mark, and check for the weight, because who knows, you might be the next person to find one of the greatest treasures hiding in plain sight. And if this story amazed you, stick with us as we continue exploring even more incredible coin discoveries that prove the next fortune might be sitting in your own pocket.